Elderly, it's time. Go vote your leaders.
No!
Elections are supposed to be peaceful. Easy vote, okay?
Youth, elderly, and persons with disabilities. It's time to choose our leaders. Let's show up and participate in the Special Interest Group elections. Starting June through August this year. Your vote, your voice. My vote, my voice. This message is brought to you by the Uganda Electoral Commission.
Uniquely ours. Explore Uganda.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukoto Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotelconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
Pick of the day on
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, dundolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, Welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotellaconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
Our program of poverty eradication is a must. We want everybody to be involved.
Through the parish development model, Ugandans are starting small but impactful projects to improve their livelihoods.
When we give 1 million, we know it's not enough to do many things, but it's a starting point.
I'm a PDM beneficiary, a farmer. Your Excellency, I was given 1 million Uganda shillings from Kobil Kawo PDM Sacco. Your Excellency, I got 20 bunches from my small piece of land sold, got 400,000, put in the PDM farm, Your Excellency, in the PDM money, Your Excellency, I bought a cow of 1,400,000.
In 1 year, 100 families in the parish you get. In 5 years, 500 families would have got.
We were the first people to receive money from Nakaprepret. I received $1 million. I rented 4 acres of land and I was able to harvest 14 bags.
So really this 1 million is enabling somebody to start something. Yes, and we don't want to give too much money to one person because we have got very many people to cover.
The parish development model empowers the people, focusing on lifting up the masses and creating opportunities that ensure prosperity for all. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwao.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m. it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwao.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by.
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, dundolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Welcome to this program of the Pan-African Friday, a program that comes your way every Friday discussing issues to do with the African being, the people of Africa, those who are living in this beautiful continent of Africa, which many of us now believe should at one point be a beautiful country of Africa and these people. And then, of course, we are looking at a number of issues in these programs. Unfortunately, for the last 2 Fridays, we were not able to be here because we had a number of programs that were coming live, and we could not be in the studio here to bring to you this program. Today, we are back with you, and we are looking at the being of Africa. Now, we are talking about being of Africa as the wholesomeness of the African person. Now, last time we were on set, we were looking at the religion, the spirituality, the African spirituality. So today we are continuing looking at the African spirituality. Now, when we talk about the African spirituality, there are 2 things that we normally have to consider in this discussion. There is the spirituality, but also the spiritualism. So we need to have strong distinction between these 2 things. The first one is the spirituality, and the second one will be the spiritualism. And we'll look at all this both in terms of practice, but also the practicability of how these things are expressed here in Africa. Now, last time when we were looking about God, we were looking at God as a universal God, that God is who He is, and He is who has been and who will be. Now, for Africans have looked at God in their own way and in a different way from the what we now would call the Abrahamic religion. Now, when we are talking about Abrahamic religion, we are talking about both Islamic and also Christianity, because both of these are children of Abraham. Now, we saw in this particular segment, when we were looking at the spirituality of Africa and the God of Africa. In fact, one person, I think that was Nduguru Garama, who said that God is actually an African, and we were saying, can you give us more concrete facts about God being an African? Of course, the discussion went on, but also I've seen that both in the Bible, but also in the Quran, if we're looking at the holy books, we are seeing many examples and stories about African people. We see a lot of imaging and a lot of places mentioned that are from Africa. And we also then seeing less, if any, mention of places that have come out from outside of Africa, say America, say Europe. Some of these are mentioned, but in terms of symbolism, especially when we are looking at the kingdoms that have ruled the world, and is when we come to see some of this symbolism coming in. But looking at all this, we then saw that, first of all, Africans did not have, up to today actually, do not have one religion. We are not even talking about religion as per se, but we are looking at beliefs. If you are talking about spirituality, is defined by what we believe, and the spirituality, you are looking at beliefs, you're also looking at practices. How when we believe in God, how do we practice that relationship with God? And we have seen that in some places we have had people making sacrifices, we have had mediums. And when you talk about mediums, it is actually related to spiritualism mainly. But in Africa, there was a direct connection with God, that people were doing things directly to God. Maybe they could go through their elders. Maybe they could go through their forefathers, but they are dealing directly with God. There was less in terms of middlemen or middlewomen who could connect the Africans with God. But also that when you look at the issue of spiritualism, which is a belief based on communication with God through sometimes the dead. That some African religions beliefs would do that, but that would be the belief that the Africans have in their ancestors. Now, when you look at both the Abrahamic religion and the African practices, there are a number of distinctions. One of them, like Africans believed in the life after death, but the whole practice was more based on the life now. The life after death was not very important, because we have heard from the songs, from the literature, from the practices, that Africans were more concerned about what they are doing now as they lived than after they are dead, because we have heard songs depicting that after death they wouldn't mind so much, but what they were living now was the most important thing. But the Abrahamic religion goes ahead to focus more on even after death than the African religion. They paint a picture that brings life to death after death, that there is more of hope even after death. Africans were looking at the life now. So, but on the issue of spiritualism, I also wanted to inform my viewer today that it is not true that only the lower African communities were the ones practicing spiritualism. We have had spiritualism in Europe, we are having spiritualism in Asia, we're having spiritualism in the Americas. This is universal also. Now the issue of spiritualism is that you interact with God or whichever being you believe in, but through a medium, through someone. Even this in the Bible we saw. If you read in the first Psalms, Samuel, or rather, you will find that this king Saul goes to a woman who was practicing spiritualism so that he could bring Samuel back to life, and then Saul could talk to Samuel to tell him the trouble he was going through in his kingdom, and that is what happened. So the issue of spiritualism is more complex and more entwined where society has existed than we are looking at now. And in the studio to discuss all this, I'm joined by Ndugu Kojo, who we had last time the same discussion, and today we are continuing. Apparently Ndugu Rugarama is today back in the streets, and Ndugu which is busy with the I guess with the NRM business, but they will be with us any moment later. So Ndugu Kojo, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
Yeah, the viewers out there waiting for you. I was trying to give this background because there was a lot that needed to be looked at. Of course, we can't look at everything. But today we are back to Africa and spirituality, how we related with God, how we relate with God today. Of course, a lot has been done in demonizing the African beliefs, to impute that the African beliefs are more satanic or devilish than other beliefs. Maybe this is compared to the Abrahamic religions, but also when colonialism came, a lot has been changed, and a lot has been talked about Africans, their practices, their medicines, their beliefs, and the way of life. So we are basically here to talk about that today. But let's get back to this point where we left last time, that even before the white man stepped on this beautiful land of Africa, Africans knew God even more than the teachers who are coming to teach them religion. And that is why when you read the letter by King Leopold, was saying these chaps don't waste time teaching them about God. They already know that, but teach them how we are going to administer them and how we are going to exploit them. Was African then therefore taught a wrong religion?
Thank you very much, and viewers, I'm glad to be here again today. This is a very important question because, like I always say, knowledge is power.
Sure.
And power changes things. If you're ignorant about who you are, you become powerless. We have these two words, religion and spirituality. They are not the same.
Sure.
They are never the same. If you look at the African society, we are spiritual. And for centuries, spirituality has actually defined us. Our spirituality has defined us. Our spirituality runs through our governance, our healing systems, our environment. Everything the African does is connected to our spirituality.
Sure.
When we give birth to children, we don't just give them names. We have ceremonies that are performed, you know, to give a child a name. I'm Kojo because I'm a male from where I come from. I'm a male born on a Monday. And from where I come from, when you're born, you're not brought out for the first 8 days. And it's for a reason. It's a spiritual process. You are brought out before sunrise on the 8th day of your birth.
Okay.
And that is when the family gathers and gives you a name. The 8 days that you are in the room and you don't come out, the elders of the family come to visit you and they observe you, trying to connect you to the ancestor who had the same characteristics that you are demonstrating within your first 8 days. So they will check your fingers, they look at your nose, they look at you very well, they see your facial expressions, they say this must be the other ancestor who has come back. It has a spiritual connection with our ancestry. I always say that whatever you don't have cannot have a name in your language.
Sure.
I want to repeat that. Whatever you don't have cannot have a name in your language. And in all African languages, there is a name for God, the supreme being.
Yeah, sure.
So nobody is going to teach us about God. If we replace the name of God that we have in our language and how we relate to that God, you know, with any other God, that we are losing our spirituality. Because our relationship with God is not about religion.
So, Nayan, how, when we get into religion, of course there's a religion, but there's also either Christianity or Islam,
Mm-hmm.
as we call them, the Abrahamic religion. Now, the Africans have their own practices, and one of them you have just mentioned, of naming of the children. And when this child is named, this name is given from a forefather or foremother.
From your ancestors.
Oh, yeah, who has maybe passed on, because normally they don't name people when they are still alive. We have seen a few instances when that has happened, when they are naming children to a name that a person is still existing. But does this contradict with the religious teachings?
No, the point is the Abrahamic, I see religion as part of culture.
Sure, that's true.
I define religion more as how society looks at the supreme being and how they relate to that supreme being. Religion doesn't necessarily connote spirituality. Spirituality is the foundation of the African society. You find it in everything we do. We know there's a supreme being. We know there are divinities and we know that our ancestors, they are in the spirit world, right? And we, the living, we don't do anything without consulting them. That is our system. This topic of religion, I think, and the Abrahamic thing, should not be something that should bother us, one, and it should not even be something that we should be concerned about, because that is the culture of the people. You know, Abraham's descendants, that is their ancestor, their father, and that is not our connection, because humanity broke down to a certain point. I mean, broke down, and we find ourselves as Africans, right? But as Africans, our spirituality is our everything. Let's go back to how this whole thing happened. You made reference to King Leopold's letter, for example. What was the purpose of Western Europeans coming to Africa? It wasn't about giving us a religion that would take us to heaven or take us anywhere. It was about colonizing our minds and having access to our resources.
Yeah.
Because today, Europeans have stopped going to church.
That's true.
And churches are on sale. If you doubt it, just go on YouTube and
I have seen some in Germany that are being turned into
churches for
clubs.
sale. Yeah, churches for sale in Europe. Now, these churches have become nightclubs, you know, entertainment centers and stuff like that. They are even for sale. People are buying them and turning them into their homes.
Yeah.
But we are building more churches. Why is it that the people who brought us the churches have stopped, have left it? Because it was not designed to help you in any way spiritually.
They themselves didn't have it.
Yeah, they don't want it anymore. It's no more relevant to them. But we cannot be separated from our spirituality. You see, the foundations of all these challenges we have is the loss of our sovereignty. We have lost our cultural sovereignty. We have lost our economic sovereignty. Every aspect of sovereignty we have lost. And it is time we intensify these conversations. I'll tell you one thing. I say, for me, when I look at religion, if you trace every religion from where you are to where it started from, you find a human being there. Right?
Yeah.
But in African spirituality, there's no human being that guides it. It is enshrined. We have enshrined in our values. Religion puts you in a system. Look, the 3 pillars of colonization that were used in Africa, the first one is religion. Once they established the church, the next thing they put is a school, the educational system. Then when the governors came, they put up this politics thing we see today. Our minds, every African's mind is either locked in religion, locked in education, or locked in politics. And they are not giving any benefits. We are not getting anything out of it. Today, you find that if you go to school and you are not careful, you become stupid. You can't even speak your own language to your own children in your own home.
You're speaking someone else's language.
Yeah, you want to speak English with your own children in your own home. You don't even want to take your children to their villages, to where you come from. You know, because you are now in the city, you are in an office, so your children must not go to the village. If they don't go to the village, how do they know how their ancestors, their forebears lived? I say it every time, that we come from families. We don't come from churches. We don't come from political parties. We don't come from anywhere. Every human being comes from a family. That family has its own values. That family is part of a society.
Because now...
And they have their own values, their own way of life, their own food, music, and all that put together we call culture.
When today we have seen Africans, for example, when they become Christians, or Muslims, not only Christians, they create a new tribe, a new relationship, a new family. Now that James, I belong to that family of the Peters, of the Jacobs, of that type of name. And I have also seen people reasoning that my name, Mututa, denotes culture. So I'm not part of the culture because I've become a Christian.
You know, our spirituality was systematically destroyed. Now, when they set up the church, what do they do next? They put up a school. In the church, we used to name, in our culture, in our spirituality, we name our children. It's the family's responsibility to name their children.
Yeah, so that the child is identified.
Yeah, you see, Matuta, if your name that is given to you has no connection with you, does not come from your name, your language, and does not mean anything in your language, it is not your name. I'm Kojo Ablode. If I was in a meeting somewhere and it was an international meeting, people from different places came and we were introducing ourselves. When I got up and said my name is Kojo Ablode, immediately somebody got up in the room and spoke my language with me.
Yes, because
that is the essence,
you identified.
That is the essence of a name. If your name cannot show where you come from, and your name does not come from your language, it is not your name. I want to take you into a certain aspect of our spirituality. We have what we call the rites of passage, and they are in every African society, and it's our spiritual ceremonies. When you are born, there is a ceremony they perform to give you a name. When you are moving from childhood to adulthood, there is a ceremony that is performed. We call it the puberty rites. There are rites that are performed. The naming ceremony is the naming rite. From moving from childhood to adulthood is another rite they perform. And that is when the elders of your family and community will teach you how a man should live, how a woman should live. There are some societies where they have what they call the bush schools, and they gather all the young people, take them there, teach them how to hunt, how to build a house, how to marry 2, 3, 4, 5 wives, how to manage a home. They teach you all that, and teach the women the same. Now, when you get into adulthood, you marry. At marriage, there's a ceremony we perform. In Buganda, Kwanjula, right? Then when you die, there's a ceremony that is performed. There are 4 rites of passage from the day you are born to the day you die. Today, when you give birth, you take the child to the church, and a stranger, somebody who is not from your family, is the one performing the naming ceremony and confer upon that child a name which does not come from your language. That is a big problem.
Yeah,
today, when you are moving from childhood to adulthood, you go to church, they call it confirmation or whatever, you know. So the religion has taken away our spirituality. When you are marrying today, it is not the family again gathering. Marriage is about between 4 families. The parents, the families of the parents of the man and the woman. It has nothing to do with friends and whatever.
And the clan.
And no, it's purely a family thing. They will notify who needs to know. But it's purely a family. When you die, it's purely a family thing. But the church has taken over, religion has taken over all that. And the rites that we perform are spiritual.
Okay. Now, when we look at all this, where is the dividing line? Because religion, well, when you grow up as a Christian or when you become a Muslim, takes you over from your family. And the family is only keeping you on behalf of the whole clan where you become from. And that clan is also existing in a bigger society of the tribe where they belong. So a child is born into a family, but that child automatically belongs to a clan and also belongs to the tribe. Now this child is brought either unwillingly or willingly into an organization in form of a religion. You may not take a decision there, like you have belonged to the society where you are born. But are we saying today that when this person joins the religion should also be identified from the community where he's coming from? Now that identification is where the problem comes in. The religious people are saying, no, we have to give you a name which is Christian or Islamic. And that means that your name, the Mututa name that you are having, to a greater extent is diminished. When you are filling most of the documents today in Africa, in most of the African countries, they will say your first name. And your first name is not necessarily your clan name. In fact, many will insist that your first name is the Christian name. Now, when you are filling these forms, be them academic or job something or health, they're insisting that your first name should be your Christian or your religious name. Now, why have we come to this far?
I tell you my own story. When my daughter went to school very young, they asked her for her names, and she mentioned her names, which are her real names. The teacher asked my daughter to provide her English name or Christian name. My daughter was like, I don't know my English name or my Christian name. Those are my names I have. And the teacher took a piece of paper and wrote a note to me saying, dear parents, kindly send us your daughter's English name or Christian name so that we can put her name in the school register. I'll explain that. So she brought the note to me. I looked at it and I turned the back of the paper and I wrote a note to the teacher and say, dear teacher, show me an English girl with an African name, and I will give my African daughter an English name. You see, the names you find in the Bible are not religious, neither are they spiritual.
Sure.
The names in the Quran are not religious. They have nothing to do with religion.
With religion, sure.
No spirituality. So an African choosing to be called Joseph, John, whatever, is these holy books we talk about, where are documents of events that happened at a particular time, and there were people, who played in those events. Those names were there before Jesus was born. Names are cultural. These Islamic names were there before Muhammad was born. So the events that occurred during a certain period that was documented made reference to those people who played in those events. So they have nothing to do with your spirituality or your religion, being religious.
Sure. I agree with you on that to a great extent, because we have many Peters who are found in many wrong things that they are doing, yet they are Christians. So have many Mohammeds who in prison for whatever reason, for the wrong reasons. But it's true that the name does not denote,
has
no value to your either being a Muslim or your being a Christian.
No.
Because like you are saying, these names, belonged to some community of people.
Exactly.
And those people who were there at that time of that history, is their names are mentioned.
Yeah.
Now in Africa, the religion again, the beliefs and the practices are linked to the, again, because like last time we said that the African beliefs are also, and religion is linked to phenomena. When you are born during the harvest time, a girl or a boy, there's a name that is given. For a boy or a girl, a child who is born at night, there's a name that is given to denote that you were born, but you were born at night. And that also comes with a lot of meaning to the entire life of that particular person. But this does not necessarily mean that the names that Africans are given are satanic. Like any other name that is given, whether from the Bible, whether from the Quran, is just a name anyway. Now Christianity, if you are to be a good Christian or you are to be a good Muslim, goes beyond the name that you have been given. Now we are saying that the African names are also names. They have nothing to do, and whoever told people that the devil was born in Africa, we need also to find out that, because if the devil was born in Africa, Jesus wouldn't have been brought to Africa as a place of refuge. And we have seen, of course, a lot of things that have happened. But how should Africans understand themselves that they need to be defined? Back to the story you are giving of the name. The colonialism distorted this, didn't completely distort the history. That when they were taking people during slave trade, to ensure that your memory is completely erased, you will be given an English name, your name and your master. The master is Johnson, so they give you John Johnson's. And we have had this David Johnson's, we have Thompson, someone. Now, this was to delete you, to delete the history, to cut the history connection between you and where you have been smuggled from, Africa, that you have to forget, and now you are a different person. Now, this thing, as it came to religion, and to a greater extent, either unknowingly also, the people who are teaching religion tried also to do this by trying to cut the history between the individual and his family or the clan, so that we maintain the English names. And then how do we come to an understanding within the religious circles that these names are not necessarily evil, like other things? We shall have also time to talk about medicines and other practices. So how do we now have a stock of religious leaders who believe that these names are not necessarily evil, and that these names in the Bible are not necessarily religious, or do not make someone Christian?
We are not going to go to war with religion and those who practice religion and those who think that religion is for them. We are not going to war with them.
Sure.
I think our conversation should focus more on providing information about who we are, the disconnect that we see. You know, Africans have been disconnected completely from who we are.
Yeah.
You know, so we should be discussing more about how do we get back, you know, on track. Religion itself has not done anything good to the African people. Like I told you, the 3 pillars of colonization. You know, we need to understand the purpose of colonization, what colonization is, and the purpose of Western European colonization of the continent. They needed systems to capture your mind, redirect your mind. They needed systems to keep us divided. Like I said in the last, I think the last time we met, the boundaries that we have were not drawn because of us. They were drawn because of our resources. In the Berlin Conference, what they did, they were creating spheres of influence. That's why they divided tribes. My tribe, we are in 4 countries, 4 different countries. 2 speak French, 2 speak English. The same way they have, you see, they demonize everything African. When you say about, we talk about Satan being born in Africa or came from Africa or whatever. Africa is not demonic. Our culture is not demonic. That is our culture, our way of life. We had it before Western Europeans invaded our homeland.
Sure.
We did not, it worked for us. It was working for us. I say that in typical African villages, there are no prisons. There's no youth unemployment, right? There was peace. Peace. No fighting. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knew what to do. You know, there was no hunger. The problems we are seeing today are not African problems. There's a system, colonization systematically disorganizes your system and impose another system on you. The divisions we see today from the family, if we come from the same family and maybe I went through a school system or I encountered some friends, and they talk to me about religion, and I become a Muslim, and you are a Christian, that we are divided on lines of education. If you go to education, in some families, if you don't go to school, you are not regarded. It's as if you have no knowledge, no wisdom, no sense in your head. Those who have gone to school will be looking at you as somebody who has no knowledge. If you go into politics, families are broken between different political parties.
Sure.
So the purpose of colonization to disempower Africans is to do whatever will set us apart, divide us. They use that transatlantic slave trade to divide us, the homeland, and our brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora, right? I want to say that it is time we accept that we can deal with these challenges we have, because it also has development implications for us.
Mm-hmm.
Today, people are spending more time in church praying than working. True?
Sure.
Today, people are giving so much attention. We are there, this conversation, please, if you have, we can design it and make sure we run it kind of in a system that people can follow it from one point to another.
Yeah, to the next.
Colonization is our problem. We are still colonized.
Sure, but now comes a problem here. When the founding fathers of Africa, of course Africa was there, but when the breed of leaders that came on stage as Africa was now being formed after it is divided, were defined whether they were belonging to the Western Bloc or they are belonging to the Eastern Bloc, or they were, because you are talking about in the original African setting, the issue of lack of food, that was already sorted. We have had episodes where there was generally no food in that area, maybe as a result of a phenomena of a natural disaster, of a drought, of too much rain, and there came a time when there was no food. Those were also there. But that there will be no time in the village where no one would have completely no food, because then the neighbor will be the next source of food, and that village will be, that family will be sorted. Now, in trying to prolong this, to carry it ahead in our political environment, some people were being told that they were, if they do that, they are going to be like socialists. Mm-hmm. And that will not be allowed in the economy where democracy was supposed to prevail. So democracy was defined also basing on the economics of our societies. And we have seen most of our leaders either were assassinated or were removed from power if they were seen in that kind of practice. Now, these hangovers are still even here today, because I think we need politics being defined, but also being looked at where do you pay your allegiance in this particular case. Of course, after the Cold War, a lot has happened. Some changes have happened, that some countries have been able to delineate, to remove themselves from that yoke. We have seen countries of Asia at least being able to move ahead, and Africa ahead of Africa. But can we have an Africa that will be looking at things in a more corporate way as the Africans, beyond the boundaries that we're having today? Well, we have the African Union and many other agencies that have tried to bring Africa together, the Western, the Southern. But do we see Africa really coming together to look at some of these things as a country, as a corporate body of the African people?
We just need to reset. We need to go back to what it is originally, remove these borders, and have a sovereign state of Africa. Sovereign, not a United States of Africa, but a sovereign state of Africa. You see, whatever disturbs you, you need to deal with it. You need to get it off. Mm-hmm. Are we together? Yeah. We should not even be talking within the European definitions, because those definitions are a problem to us. What you talk about democracy. First, I want to talk about 2-3 critical things. Number one, the world. Human beings live on Earth, and this Earth provides everything that we need to live on this Earth without any problems. The plants are there for our food and our medicine. Money was not a problem in an African economy.
So it was not part of the issue.
It was not part of our... Now you have something called the world. And if I ask you, show me the world, there is nothing you're going to show.
Yeah, there's no world.
But if I ask you, show me the earth, you can show me the earth. And the earth bears fruits. The world is a system. We are dealing with an animal called the world, which is a system. It has a bank to control your economic development. It has a food program or organization, and they determine what happens when it comes to food. They have a health organization, so they can tell you, go and line up and take jabs without you knowing what even the jab is composed of. Today, I hear they are giving treatment to children in schools, particularly girls, in school without the knowledge of their parents. But Africans need to know that there is a program called the eugenics program, which is designed to reduce the global population. Now, what I want us to know is that the world is a system, and we don't belong to that system. That system is not designed to help us in any way. The World Health Organization, World Bank, all those things. The United Nations was created after the First World War. It was called the League of Nations. Mm-hmm. And to promote peace and prevent another, I call them European tribal wars. They were not world. Okay, the world is their system, so we can call them world wars. But then it did not take 20 years, the Second World War came. Then they converted the League of Nations into United Nations. Where was Africa at the time? What does the United Nations mean to Africa? When the President of the United States is speaking in the UN General Assembly, the hall is full. When an African president is speaking, the hall is empty. Look at what they did to our presidents when they went for the Queen's burial.
Don't even want to remember.
So the point is that the world is a system that is designed to control, human beings. And Africans, we need to be wary of that. You talked about democracy. My What is the definition of democracy? A government of the people, for the people, by the people. That is the definition they give us for democracy. Tell me, where is it happening on this earth? Where? Is it in America? Is there democracy in America?
No.
Is it in the UK? So what are they calling democracy? And why are we concerned about Europe and everything instead of just saying from today? If America says Africans are not allowed to come to the US, we also play the same thing back to them. If I can't come to your country, don't come to mine.
That's what I've been discussing.
If you push trade tariffs on my economy, I do the same. You get the point? So Africans, we need to accept. We need to accept that we are a people. We need to live by we should be the ones calling the shots. We should create our own systems. Africa has its own educational system, but we have abandoned it. And we are gone into something. That's the last thing I want to say. You see, our IQs are higher than any other set of people on earth. And we are absolute resilience. They took us into slavery, we survived. They brought us HIV/AIDS, we survived. You know, everything that happens, we survive. What we need to know is that there is nothing wrong with us. There is nothing wrong with our systems. Everybody who is coming to Africa, Western Europe came to Africa, today America is coming, Russia is coming, China, they are coming not because of the African people. They are coming because of our resources. Religion did not come to transform the African. It came to suppress the African's mind
so that they can have access to our resources. Thank you so much, viewer, being with us. This story cannot end. We shall continue it from there. And we need to believe in ourselves. We need to look at ourselves as people of Africa. And we need to define ourselves to know who we are. The names that we are given may look so nice, but does not replace the names that we have as Africans, because that is our heritage, that is our definition. We can have all the English names, the American names, the Russian names, wherever names they are coming from. But our names are still the name that you are, and that's what defines you. Thank you so much being with us for this time. Until next week on Friday is when we shall again come back and we pick it up from here. Now we'll be looking at the systems. We Africans, are we part of the world? Are we part of the systems? And how can we live in these systems? Do we have anything that we achieve from this? Now have seen countries that have really rebelled against these systems and have been able to make it in life. And can we have some of these African countries doing that? Yes, maybe we have. We shall look at some of the examples on this continent that have really defied some of these world systems and have been able to stand out with their people and have been able to do a lot of greater things than we know. Thank you so much being with us. Until next week on Fridays when we shall be back and have the best of the weekend. And thank you for being with us, and thank the team that has been behind this production. Thank you, see you, and take care.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. Kampala, Uganda. Ku mulanga gw'eggwanga ogw'okunyweza obukuumi ku nguudo, aba Good Product Group HG Obran batongoza mu butongole kaweefube gwe batuumye Rider Selecting Campaign. Kati osobola okwewandiisa ng'oyita ku kibanja kyabwe ekya